tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's pugilism, boxing algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah. Yes, what's good, ladies and gents? This is the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel. We're talking all things boxing. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And right now, just going to give a bit of breaking news, which is Kevin McBride, who is literally the last person to share the boxing ring professionally with Iron Mike Tyson. He had an interview with TMZ. I think it must have been yesterday, perhaps, or early hours of this morning. But anyway, he had an interview with TMZ, and in that interview, he said that he has no problem running it back with Mike Tyson when Tyson gets through with Roy Jones Jr. And yeah, ever since Mike Tyson has talked about coming back and has been releasing his little 30-second clips where he's just throwing his little short arm shots and looking very, very sharp on the pads. You know, it's looking like he's back in his 30s or something, or 20s. You know, looks very sharp on the pads. You know, of course those are just short clips, so yeah, it would be interesting to see how Tyson looks after a few rounds. But yeah, nonetheless, he's been looking good. Scheduled to fight Roy Jones Jr. in an exhibition match, but we'll see whether they get carried away or not. So Kevin McBride, they were interviewing him on TMZ, and you could really see that the style of the interview, they're really sort of prodding him and saying, so yeah, how about you, Kev? How about you getting in the ring? You're the last man to face Mike Tyson. You know, how do you think he looks in his training? And you know, McBride was sort of very honest about it. You know, he was saying, now, you know, Mike Tyson looks very good, and you know, he remembers the power of Mike Tyson, and they were pushing him to say, yeah, so how would you get on? Would you like? And McBride was like, yeah, I'd definitely fight Tyson again. You know, he says he's definitely up for the exhibition, and yeah, that would be an interesting storyline. I wonder what you guys think about whether that would actually be a better storyline than Roy Jones Jr. Because during the McBride fight, I rewatched that, and that was a fight in which Mike Tyson just looked a complete shell of himself. You know, in that McBride fight, Tyson looked weak, and you know, he looked like his arms were like lead, and he could, you know, in that fight he was throwing punches, but it's like every punch was taking everything out of him. And you had this situation in when the fight was eventually stopped in the 6th round. You know, Tyson was sort of slumped on the floor, and you know, it was that slump that he was looking for somebody to pick him up. He was actually looking for referee Mills Lane to pick him up, so he looked very bad in that fight. And yeah, it's one of them that, you know, I doubt it will ever happen, but would be an interesting narrative to see how Iron Mike Tyson, you know, sort of tries to redeem himself in an exhibition versus Kevin McBride. And yeah, do let me know your thoughts about that. Would it be a better storyline for Tyson to get in an exhibition ring with the last guy he fought and the last guy who made him quit on his stool in round 6, you know, which is Kevin McBride, a guy that most people will have never heard of, especially the casual fans, but he is the last guy to knock out Mike Tyson. So yeah, that might be an interesting narrative, and that's just a bit of breaking news. McBride, the last person to beat and last person to stop Mike Tyson, is interested in having an exhibition with him. So that's just my little thoughts on that. Until next time, MKO Pugilism, over and out.